The train. He shouldn't have eaten that extra dessert. He knew that. He was drowned in fervor initiated by the nostalgia of going back to college, not as a student but as an alumni this time. His excitement was further fueled by his college's Diamond Jubilee celebrations. With a heavy stomach, gasping for his breath, he reached the railway station at 11 in the night. The station knew no night. It was radiating with bright lights. Yet there was an inexplicable darkness surrounding the journey that night. He could feel the harsh looks of people scanning and poking him as they wait for the train's arrival. It was an impromptu trip and he couldn't get any reservation for the return journey. The clock struck 11:30. The blazing sound of train's horn reverberated throughout the platform. Train's arrival also brought frenzy among the people as they push each other trying to grab unreserved seats in general compartments. The police failed miserably controlling the crowd. He stood back for people to settle in. His destination was just 2.5 hours away with a single halt in between. So he didn't mind standing throughout the journey. The train had 3 general compartments interconnected with each other followed by the reserved. There was no passage between the general bogies and the reserved ones. He boarded the train and started hunting for a vacant seat and found one in the 3rd general bogie. He settled down, placing his bag firmly between both his feet. His uneasy feeling was broken by the conversation with fellow passengers. He answered their questions about halting stations, alternate trains by firing up queries on his mobile. Clearly, he was an odd man out there, with ironed clothes, spectacles and a clean bag. However, the conversations made him more comfortable, welcoming even. These feelings vaporized in a whiff as they entered the cabin U-stain before started moving. They were around 5 people, roughly his height and had heavily built bodies. They moved past him excited, laughing aloud for successfully sneaking into the train. Just a moment later, a man followed them hurriedly, lamenting about losing all the 2001 NR he had in his wallet. Then it struck him, he would be losing much more than 2001 NR. He regretted buying that costly mobile phone last year. The golden chain around his neck given by his father exacerbated the situation. They moved ahead to start their nefarious activities from the 1st general compartment. This meant he had roughly half-hour before they reached the 3rd one. Out of the rapport, he asks his fellow passengers if they knew how to handle the situation. But they looked equally dejected. The memories of being mugged by a similar group in Bangalore came back rushing to him. During the evolution, humans have outlived mentrain species of ruthless predators. We don't have sharp arms. All we had was a brain to make tools and fire to ward off wild animals. He kept telling himself to think. Think. Adrenaline started kicking in. It was a fight or flight situation. In fact, the flight path wasn't so clear as the train doesn't stop for another 1.5 hours and he was stuck at the extreme end of the 3rd and last general compartment. It is said on TV that, if you were ever backed up against a wall, break the goddamn wall. That suggestion seemed impractical at that moment, at least literally. He immediately took off his spectacles, messed up his hair to fit in. But he knew that wasn't going to be enough. His left leg started oscillating up and down like an excited tuning fork. He looked anxiously at the passage to 2nd compartment, cautiously observing any movements, keenly listening to any sounds. It's 12:30. The claps and thudding sounds kept getting louder. They were followed by a public train clamor. He knew he didn't have much time. His was sweating profusely. That's when it struck him. Every compartment had 4 toilets, 2 on either side. As his fellow passengers were drowsy, he slipped off smoothly into a bathroom and locked the door. The train was going around 100 km/h. It wasn't enough for him. He wanted it go faster. In fact, he needed it, badly. With the speed comes the relentless vibrations causing the bolt on the door to unlock periodically. With a thin door and a self-unlocking bolt, he knew he must be prepared for all alternatives. Each time the train slowed down, he prayed, begged for it to go faster. He put the phone in silent mode, disguised it with handkerchief and placed it in the empty laptop sleeve of the bag. He fastened his collar button to hide the chain. He removed high-value notes from his wallet, folded and hid them in different places on his body. He removed all the cards from his wallet and scattered them in different sleeves of the bag. He intentionally left some 10s and 20s in the wallet to give them the satisfaction of emptying his walltrain in that TINV room. He stooped to look out the window himself with the never-ending darkness zooming past the train. Clock struck 1:30. They are in the same compartment now. He could hear them alternating between laughing out loud and anger-ridden shouting. He could hear people begging, followed by shrill cries. His heart began to race. He held the loose bolt tightly in position. That's when he heard the knock on the door. A chill went down his spine. His heart started pounding harder and faster, as if it's trying to resonate with the sound of the train. He could hear someone twisting the doorknob. To make it all worse, the train started to decelerate just when they were a few kilometers away from the first halt. He smashed his hand against his leg, hopelessly, thinking how close he got to freedom. He just wanted to get past that night. He wanted all of that to disappear. He gave a sigh of relief as the knocking and twisting sounds from the door stopped. The train maintained the speed as it traverses through a maze of tracks the station. He took the bag into his hands, got out of the train, and ran towards the reserved compartments without looking back. He boarded one and relieved to see everyone sleeping peacefully. The train was supposed to stop just for 2 minutes, but that day it stopped for more than 20 minutes, which is not unusual. He roamed the train through its thin corridors, avoiding ticket collector, TC, till the train starts so that he won't be asked to get down and go to unreserved compartments. That's when he sees a TC coming towards him from a distance, looking at his phone intently. He got his alumni card and money ready to pay the fine and explain the situation. Just when he was about to talk, the TC pointed in the direction away from general bogies and asked him to go to the next compartment, getting down the train hurriedly. He looked outside to see a commotion near the general bogies. He didn't want to go back and see what exactly happened. He moved to the compartment TC pointed to and waited for the train to start. It was 3 a.m. by the time he reached home. Feeling glad that he is unscathed, he woke up the next day only to see that there was no mention of the incidents on the train in newspapers. He don't know what happened that night. Maybe he never will. It'll be one less distraught memory that flashes before his eyes next time he sees them in saris and kurtas. Considering it all a bad dream, he ponders if it's the wide inequalities and the way our society ostracizes them that foments such crisis. Thank you for watching and listening the video. Before ending, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and also press the bell icon.